If you wouldn't follow yourself, why should anyone else? The first person you should lead is yourself. Don't wait until the pressure's on to make a character choice. If you become the leader you ought to be on the inside, you will become the leader you want to be on the outside. Quality number 3. The third quality of a leader is commitment. In fact, I have found and discovered that commitment separates the doers from the dreamers. A lot of people have dreams. A lot of people talk to you about what they're going to do and what they're going to accomplish. But if you really want to know what separates the dreamer from the doer, it is always commitment. And Schiller was exactly right when he said, "He who has done his best for his own time has lived for all times." When I was working on this lesson, I wrote this down in my notes. It's not in yours, but let me just read it to you for a moment. I know a person with less talent than another, but he will be more successful. I know a person with fewer opportunities than another, but she will be more successful. I know a person with less education than another, but he will be more successful. I know a person with worse health than another, but she will be more successful. The secret? Commitment. Commitment gives the leader the edge every time. So, when is our commitment tested? As a leader, when are we going to be tested in this area? Number 1, when something takes longer than anticipated. Isn't that true? How many of you ever had a project you thought, I think in about a week I'll knock this out, and in a week you were knocked out? Huh? You know what I'm saying? Is oh man, this is, whoo. Our commitment's always tested when it's going to take longer than anticipated. Secondly, our commitment is tested when something is more difficult than anticipated. When we think, I don't think this will be too hard, and we get into it and say, this is very hard. You see, to the boxer, it's getting off the mat one time more than you've been knocked down. To the marathoner, it's running another 10 miles when your strength is gone. And to the soldier, it's going over the hill, not knowing what's waiting on the other side. To the social worker, it's saying goodbye to your own comfort to make life better for others. To the leader, it's all that and more because everyone you lead is depending upon you. In your notes, I have something that's very special to me. It's called Committed. And I'm going to read it to you in a second, but let me give you the background before I read this to you. As a young leader, still in my 30s, in fact, as I look back, I just became 30 at this time. I went into my first multi-million-dollar building project, and I'd never built anything this size. I really didn't know how to build anything this size. I had some good people around me, and obviously I was going to have to use them to help me to build something. But I was scared. I was nervous. I was over my head. I was way out of my comfort zone. But I knew we had to have this building to house all the people that were coming, and so we launched into it. Of which, because I had a lack of experience, I thought that the building would take a long time, but I didn't realize how long it would take. I thought it would be expensive, but I didn't realize how expensive it would become. I thought it would be difficult, but I didn't have any clue it would be this difficult. In other words, I was nervous on the front end, but if I'd had any clue how bad it was going to be, I could have had a nervous breakdown. I should have been a lot more nervous. Setbacks came. I remember the man who was to watch our payments had very carelessly paid somebody that literally went bankrupt, and I still remember the day I realized we were going to have to pay $120,000 twice for the same work. And I remember all these things, and the temptation, it was awful. I began to feel this thing of, oh man, I don't want to hang with this, and I got very tired, and I came across this great statement by Murray that I laminated this card, and for 18 months, every morning I read this. And I carried it with me every day. Sometimes I read it a half a dozen times. When bad news would come throughout the day, I just pulled out the card and say, read it again, John. Here's what he said. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issue from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meanings and material decisions which no man could have ever dreamed would come his way the day we make a commitment. In other words, nothing's going to happen that's going to be good to you until you pass that commitment barrier. So let me give you some commitment comments real quickly. Number one, commitment starts with the heart. Michael Jordan said, heart is what separates the good from the great. It's all from the heart. Number two, commitment is tested by action. Arthur Gordon acknowledged, nothing is easier than saying words and nothing is harder than living them day after day. Isn't that the truth? The easiest stuff we do, the words come out so easy, and then we got to follow them through. I read a cute story the other day. Someone told me about this, and I just want to read it to you, about a newly elected judge who had won office in a special county election. During his acceptance speech, he said, I wish to thank the 424 people who promised to vote for me. I wish to thank the 316 people who said that they did vote for me. I wish to thank the 47 people who came out last Thursday to vote. And I wish to thank the 26 people who actually did vote for me. Isn't that the way it always is? When you begin to narrow down from the crowd, it is always the few. It's always the few that are committed that really make the difference. The third commitment comment is this. Commitment opens the door to achievement. What opens the door to achievement is commitment. In my book, Today Matters, I say three things about it. We over-exaggerate yesterday. We overestimate tomorrow. And we underestimate today. Because I realize that to be a fact. And commitment is what opens the door to achievement, because commitment understands what is at your hands right now. That's what you need to do. The secret of your success, the secret of my success, is discovered in our daily agenda. I was having a wonderful time over lunch with John Wooden a few months ago. The greatest basketball coach in college ranks ever, more wins, more national championships, an incredible guy. Now he's 90. When I was having my time with him, he's 93 years of age. And one of his favorite expressions that I wanted to talk to him about was, make every day your masterpiece. And so I said, talk to me about that, Coach. You always say, make every day your masterpiece. And here's what he said. He said, when my players were practicing at UCLA, and I would see one of them sloughing off and not really giving 100%, I would go up to him and I'd call him by name and I'd stop him and I'd say, I want you to realize that if you don't give 100% today, you can't make it up tomorrow. He said, what I want you to understand is very simple. You can't work 120% tomorrow. In fact, he laughed at me. He said, I keep telling Bill Walton, who played ball for him at UCLA, he said, I keep telling Bill, who's an announcer, of course, in basketball and sports, he said, I keep telling Bill, quit saying that player's giving 110% on the floor. He said, you can't give 110%. He said, at best, if you did your very, very best, you could only give 100%. So if you're giving 50% today, you can't give 150% tomorrow and make up for what you lost today. He said, what I learned is that if you lose it today, you never recover it tomorrow. That's why he said, I tell everybody, make every day your masterpiece. That's huge. Bill Bradley, the great basketball player, kind of politician, said one time, he said he went to a basketball camp. And at the basketball camp, the guy stood in front of all these boys at the basketball camp. And here's what he said. Just remember that if you're not working at your game to the utmost of your ability, there will be someone out there, somewhere with equal ability, and one day you'll play each other, and he'll have the advantage. That's just the way it works. In your notes, developing the quality of commitment in your life, use the Edison method. I love this. In taking the first step toward commitment, if that's a problem, try doing what Thomas Edison did. When he had a good idea for an invention, he would call a press conference to announce it. Then he'd go into his lab and invent it. Make your plans public, and you might be more committed to following through with that.